So examples, and we would want to do the same thing here, so that the program stands alone. And we like to do that because, again, it's a citizens, a community-driven program. And so we like to give it a separate identity and plan. These are just some samples of print communications that we've done: letters, flyers, summaries. This is a big brochure that we just finished for Decatur Public Schools. It folds out real large and has all kinds of options for potential new high schools and how they should solve high school programs. This is a program in Woodstock, Illinois, about a 2-year program. This is one of their brochures. We did this in both English and Spanish. In other districts, we've done them in a variety of languages, and not only those, but the brochures and print items, but video. Sample of video. This is from Harper. Oops. This is from Harper Community College.
We're asking
just last
for your
year.
thoughts, your
this
guidance,
video was
and your
on the website. It was
Together,
mass
we can
duplicated.
Protect
It invited people to come to be a part of the process. Let me shut up for just a minute and let you
educational needs and
see what we're
fuel
talking
economic
about.
growth throughout the Northwest suburbs.
Okay, so at the end it says, here's what we're going to do, and we need you to be involved. This is a beginning of a video we did not long ago for Decatur Public Schools.
Were state of the art. When chalkboards had yet to become smart boards. When text was found in a book and a tweet referred to a bird. Welcome to 21st Century Learning, where high school students use high-tech tools for everyday education.
Paper, pencil, gone. The days of writing with chalk, gone. The days of being able to access the internet and access digital streaming and access information at the snap of a finger is today's learning environment.
In summary, here are some things that I think that as we think about our approach that we think are, I don't know, maybe unique. At least we think that they're potentially unique for our process. I mentioned citizen leadership. That's tremendously important in our view. And I mentioned that before, but that's, I think, maybe a process or a component that maybe is a little bit unique. An invitation to all residents from the word go. It's not later on, but from the word go, there is that invitation for citizens, the entire community, to be involved in every step along the way. Community-wide workshops, as I have demonstrated, true two-way dialogue, as I mentioned, both from the school district to the community back to the school district, and each other. And the each other is important too. The work sessions resulting in the wisdom of crowds, and that's a new book, or a book that's been written recently, and it's amazing when crowds come together and you give them appropriate information and data. It's amazing the recommendations that they will come up with that are pretty consistent across the board. Extensive communications, I mentioned. Again, I think a key, a unique feature, perhaps, of our work. Soak time. It takes a while. You saw the timeline. You can't rush community engagement. I call it soak time. Rod's more sophisticated than I am, and he uses marinate. But soak. I'm from Southeast Missouri, so that's entire community identifies the recommendations. Not a team of 15, not a team of 25, but the entire community develops those recommendations. And then I think recommendations from our program are grounded in reality. The district will have the capacity to implement the program when it's finished. Thank you very much.
You start last time, John. You want to start again?
Well, that's actually a question. We had someone
from the community who submitted a question, who was interested to know, the school district has a current long-range plan. How will Unicom work? And I think you responded to him via email earlier today.
I'll let Rod answer that.
Okay.
Since he's the one that responded to
How
it.
will you interact with that long-range plan?
The question is,
Oh, the one that was in the email? Yeah, the question that was, there was an email that came from somebody that couldn't attend the meeting tonight, and the question was, in essence, are you going to get hired to dress up what we put on the ballot last time and try to sell it to the community again? And there was actually two questions. That was one of them, and I answered that kind of with an unequivocal no. And the point I made about that is that when we come into a community like this, we have no preconceptions or notions where the process is necessarily going to end up. I think that when we do engagement, and Dan talked about this, every idea and every notion is on the table, and where it goes is where it needs to go, driven by data and driven by good group decision making. And so where that ends up may look a lot like what went on the ballot, or it may look a lot different than that, but we don't have any preconceptions about that. It's going to go where the community takes it. The second question was, will you find out why that thing lost, or why it lost on the ballot? What the disconnect was between what, and he didn't, these are my words, but the way I thought about that was find out what the disconnect was between where the leadership of this district wanted to go and what voters were willing to support when they did not support that referendum. And I made a reference to that when I talked about public opinion research. One of the things that we will do in the process is get a good picture of public opinion in this community and feed that into the process. There may be a night during the engagement program where the topic is the survey that we did and how that affects the work that the community engagement program is working on. And if there's any disconnect between where that program is going and what the community might support, that gets back to what Dan talked about, is about this being grounded in reality. We need to keep an eye on what the community feels in its entirety and where the community engagement program is going. For example, and this is a pretty good example of this, there was a community engagement program going on in Naperville, and one of the issues on the table was, do we tear down one of our high schools and build a brand new one, or do we renovate our high school and bring it up to modern standards the best we can? The engagement program was going down the path, and they were way down the path to tear down and build back new. The public opinion survey said 75% of the people wanted renovation, not demolition. And so that was a subject they had to discuss at the engagement meeting and figure out what the best steps to take were for a long-range plan, taking into reality public opinion data. Naperville decided to renovate and make like new the old high school building. That work is being done right now. So that gets back to a lot of interconnectedness of the program, where we're doing public opinion research. We're looking at what can be done realistically, what's the reality of it, what does the community value, and how does that integrate into the overall engagement program.
I think, Dan, you had a question?
Yeah, I was impressed with the number of Missouri schools that you've worked with, and obviously you've had a great deal of experience. But my question is, how will you determine who the lead consultant will be? Will it be one of you? And how much experience will that person have had? And then secondly, in terms of support staff to work with that consultant, what are we really buying?
On any given meeting, Rod and I and perhaps others will be here. At least one of us will be here for every one of those facilities. We'll be here working with the district prior to ever actually put together the facilitating team. We'll be here for every one of those facilitating team meetings, for every one of the community engagement sessions. It may be myself, it may be Rod, it may be, there's a couple other folks who help us facilitate these. But we're a pretty small group in terms of keeping, because we want to make sure that the program is consistent. And so there's Rod and myself and a couple of others